It's 6 o'clock. It's Saturday the 28th of December, and welcome to our Saturday evening news programme, coming to you live from the heart of Wyke, Regis, Weymouth. Now, it's a slow news week, which often happens over Christmas and the New Year, so we're a little shorter programme tonight, but we have managed to get some news together for you. And I'm very pleased to share it with you now. So in the news this week, as we have probably heard, the mains electric fault caused problems for some on Christmas Day in Weymouth, particularly the west side of Weymouth Harbour. Many commercial and domestic properties, on the south side of Weymouth Harbour, many commercial and domestic properties on the south side of Weymouth Harbour to lose their power on Christmas Day. Venues such as the Ship Inn, the White Pepper Indian Restaurant, the George and the White Hart all planned to be open and have customers waiting for meals and were affected. One restaurateur commented, "We have to turn families away who reserved a table for their Christmas dinner weeks ago. We've been told that the power could be back on at around 5 p.m. So we should just have to keep our fingers crossed. This couldn't come at a worse time for us." The White Hart on New Bond Street said that it rebooked some Christmas meals for Boxing Day, but customers still had a good day. A spokesman for SSEN said at the time, "The cause of this power cut is a fault in our underground network. This is the most common type of fault we see, and our teams are very experienced in dealing with these issues. In most cases, our engineers are able to get power back on by simply replacing a fuse at a local substation. However, if the fault is severe, it may take us longer to fix." The latest power cut comes after dozens of residents in Abbotsbury Road area were left without power for a few hours on Christmas Eve, and almost 200 homes were without power for 2 hours on Christmas Day in parts of Bridport as well. I think the power came back on in Weymouth about 3 or 4 hours later. So hopefully not too many people had their Christmas meals disrupted on Christmas Day. Now, a country road is set to close to allow repairs to take place. Causeway, which is located just off of Radipole Village, will close from Monday, January the 6th to Wednesday, January the 8th between 9:30 and 3:30 and will reopen to traffic overnight and over the weekend. The road will be closed to allow targeted and localised repairs of sections of the road. The recommended diversion route is to head towards Dorchester Road and through Nottington. The works are being carried out by Dorset Council, and the road may not be closed for the whole duration stated and will also be weather dependent. Diversion signs will be in place while the works are carried out, and emergency access will be maintained throughout the works. Now, children in Ferndown with special educational needs and disabilities have participated in fun and educational cooking classes thanks to Local Alliance Group's funding, or LAG funding. The LAG funding has successfully supported the delivery of 5 engaging sessions during the school holidays for 10 to 15 children aged 5 to 13 years of age. These sessions were introduced to address a significant gap in holiday activities for this age group, providing meaningful opportunities for children and families alike. During the sessions, children have had the chance to make afternoon tea, cook pizza and bake cupcakes. Each child has been provided with aprons, chef hats and bowls to take home, encouraging them to continue practicing their new skills outside of the sessions. The programme has not only offered enjoyment for the children, but also fostered valuable social opportunities among the parents, particularly those caring for children with additional needs. The sessions were led by a parent who understands the unique challenges faced by families of children with special educational needs. The programme has received overwhelming positive feedback, with one parent sharing, "It's so lovely to see my child so engaged in this activity and looking forward to school holidays so we can come back." Children themselves are equally enthusiastic, frequently asking, "What can we do next time?" The programme has been made possible thanks to funding from Dorset Council, which was allocated by the Local Alliance. Local Alliance groups include members who have a vested interest in making a difference in the lives of children and families. There are 6 Local Alliance groups in Dorset, each representing a different geographical area. The groups agree on priorities and create plans to improve things for children and young people in their local areas. Now, a local historian is calling for medieval steps in Weymouth to be preserved amid fears that they could be lost. It comes after Dorset Council appealed for nominations for heritage assets, such as buildings and monuments, to be added to the local heritage list. The old Chapelhay Steps in Weymouth, located between Chapelhay Street and the now demolished North Quay Council Office site, were covered in undergrowth and hidden away before they were revealed by Mark Vine and his team in 2019. Mr. Vine, an author and historian who represents a volunteer-led archaeology group, says the site may date back to the 12th century and needs to be preserved due to its pivotal role in the country's history during the English Civil War. After failing to have the steps protected by Historic England in 2021, Mr. Vine is now seeking to have the steps added to the local list of heritage assets being compiled by Dorset Council. Mr. Vine said the steps are under serious threat of destruction from tree growth, which is distorting them. They are a massive, though hidden and largely forgotten about, archaeological and historical feature in Weymouth's landscape. If you feel as strongly as I do that this superb piece of Weymouth-built history and heritage should be listed and protected, please go on to the Dorset Council website and say so. Mr. Vine says that the steps played a part in the Battle of Weymouth on February the 27th, 1645, and were used by the townsfolk of every century between the 1100s right up to the Victorian era, when they were replaced by the present Chapelhay Steps next to Holy Trinity Church, which of course we will all be familiar with and many of us use today. Almost 600 people took part in a Christmas Day run through Weymouth. Visitors from as far as Australia, Thailand and Switzerland joined the Weymouth Park Run on Wednesday, December the 25th. Organisers have since revealed that an impressive 595 actual runners took part in the event, including Father Christmas himself. Fiona Pawsey, one of the organisers, said what an amazing Christmas morning it was at the Weymouth Park Run when Santa popped by after a hectic night to start off Weymouth Christmas Day Park Run. It was a beautiful dry day with calm seas, and when 595 runners plus Santa turned up to run the 5-kilometre course on Weymouth's amazing seafront. Santa thanked the 36 amazing volunteers who gave up their time to help make the special event possible, and we thank Santa for taking the time to pop in after his very busy night. The park run is free to attend and takes place every Saturday at 9 a.m. from the promenade opposite the Sea Life Centre. If you fancy taking part in a park run on an up-and-coming Saturday, pop along to the park run website, www.parkrun.org.uk/register, and you can register to take part. Now, Dorset Museum and Art Gallery in Dorset has announced its Christmas, New Year and January opening times. Whilst the museum is closed on the bank holidays such as Christmas Day, Boxing Day and New Year's Day, it will also be closed for a further 3 weeks in January. The closure starts from Monday, January the 6th through to Friday, January the 25th, and it will be closed due to staff training and essential maintenance of the museum. Upon its reopening on Saturday, January the 25th, visitors will get the chance to wander around the brand new Gladiators of Britain exhibition. During the period of the closure, the Taste Cafe will remain open. A spokesman for the museum said the museum will also be closed from the 6th to 24th of January for staff training and essential maintenance, and will reopen on the 25th of January with the Gladiators of Britain exhibition. If you want more information on the museum and updates on the exhibitions that are coming up this year, then pop along to www.dorsetmuseum.org. Now, staying with Dorset Museum and the Gladiators exhibition, deadly games in Roman Dorchester is the question that they pose. Gladiator shows and beastly spectacles in Britannia. Now, you can join Dr. John Pearce for a talk that explores the reality of gladiatorial spectacles and reveals the grim truths behind these celebrated events at the Dorset Museum and Art Gallery on Thursday the 24th of April. Now, I'm giving you a lot of advance notice of this because it's part of a regional thing on gladiators and expected to be very popular. Violent spectacles pitting humans and animals against one another for the pleasure of a crowd are well-known markers of Roman culture, thrillingly reimagined in films like Gladiator 2. But can we understand the reality of gladiator shows behind the modern myths, especially in remote parts of the empire like Britain. Mornbury Rings and other Romano-British amphitheatres impress us still, but what happened within them? This talk will explore recent research by the speaker and others on new discoveries and older finds, including objects, images and skeletal remains. The evidence allows us to see not only the uncomfortable reality of death and mutilation in arenas like those of Dorchester, it also illuminates the networks which brought star performers, human and animal, to Britannia from the furthest corners of the empire, and reveals the fan culture which sustained the holding of spectacles in its cities and garrisons. Now, more information on the Dorset Museum's website, and watch out for more details about the Gladiator exhibition, which is also featuring at other museums in the region. And the website again is dorsetmuseum.org. Now, a family fun day at Weymouth. That was the picture that should have gone with the gladiators. The family fun day at Weymouth Fire Station has raised hundreds of pounds for charities. Crews at the Radipole Lane base threw open the doors last Sunday, 22nd of December, for their Christmas cracker event. It's been a chance to pass on. It was also a chance to pass on safety advice for the season and show the community what the crews do every day. The event included demos of how to deal with cooking and chip pan fires, with a special rescue on their drill tower 2, with firefighters helping Santa down from height. And there's Santa in the picture on the screen. It was free to attend, but donations were taken on the day for charities, and it can be revealed that £688 will be going to the firefighters charity, with an additional £135 to the Margaret Green Animal Rescue cause in Dorset as well. A post on social media from Weymouth Fire Station said, "We'd just like to say a massive thank you to everyone that came and supported our Christmas cracker event. It was an amazing day which we could not have done without you. We raised a massive amount of money for the firefighters charity. It's a charity that do amazing work for firefighters up and down the country." Now, local well-known musician Billy Bragg has donated the proceeds from the sale of one of his guitars to the Stop Portland Waste Incinerator campaign. The donation amounts to around £2,600 going to the campaign from the sale of the guitar. Billy said, "I don't like to own my guitars that don't get played, so I've decided to put a few of mine up for sale over the coming weeks. They're not classic guitars in the collection sense, none of them are Fenders or Gibsons, but they have made a contribution to my work on stage in the past 40 years. In fact, I believe Billy has sold 4 guitars recently, and some of them reaching up to about £8,000 sale price, and all of the proceeds have gone to various charities that Billy supports. So a very worthy thing that he's done there. Now, part of Chickerell Road in Weymouth is to close to allow for the installation of fibre network cables. The part affected will be the part of Chickerell Road at its junction with Boot Hill to its junction with Prince of Wales Road, a distance of just over 200 metres. The closure is necessary for BT Openreach to be able to safely access telegraph poles in order to install fibre cables overhead. The closure comes in force on 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday the 7th of January and will be in place till later that afternoon. It is hoped that the work can be completed in a single day and that no further disruption will be necessary. Now, railway rides will be returning to North Dorset for the first time in almost 60 years. The coming year will be an exciting one for the North Dorset Railway, the heritage railway charity based at Shillingston Station. A new visitors car park will soon be completed, and rail track is being laid to the north at Lamb House Bridge over the road from Shillingston to Oakford Fitzpaine, which will eventually connect back to the station and make it possible to offer railway rides for the first time in almost 6 decades. And at noon on New Year's Day, as we mentioned last week, a blast on train whistles at the station will mark the start of an important year in railway history, and that's the 200 years of railways in the UK. As in 1825, George Stephenson's steam-powered locomotive number 1 hauled passenger wagons the 26 miles between Shildon, Darlington and Stockton in what is now County Durham. It was a major event even at that time, and even though the actual number of passengers carried at the time is not sure, and there are various accounts, it was probably around 500 people. Shillingstone was the former Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway, was part of the former Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway. The station originally opened on Monday, August the 31st, 1863, and closed just over a century later on Sunday, March the 6th, 1966. The station is one of the best preserved on the Somerset and Dorset line since the railway closure in 1966. A spokesman for North Dorset Railway said, "If you're out for a bracing New Year's Day walk on the trailway, do look in. Even if you miss the midday whistle, the station and cafe will be open with soup, pasties, hot drinks and delicious homemade cakes on offer, not to mention a cosy log fire between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Entry to the station, the museum and the exhibits is free, although donations are always welcome. The station will also be open to visitors on Saturday, December the 28th and Sunday, December the 29th. So that's today and tomorrow. The bicentenary of the railways will be commemorated at Shillingstone throughout the course of 2025. And finally, local coach tour company Crossways Travel has made donations to 2 local charities. Crossways Travel Coach Company has made donations of £1,485 to both Linus Dorset and the Weymouth Street Pastors. The funds were collected on board its coach tours and at events that it's run throughout the year. Matthew Crocker, who's one of the directors of Crossways Travel, said, "We would like to thank all our customers who made donations and also all our hard-working staff for their dedication to these causes throughout the year. We are proud to support the charity of the year each year, and it's always the highlight of the year doing these donations and supporting the local community. This year, Crossways picked 2 charities, Project Linus and Weymouth Street Pastors." Now, Project Linus West Dorset is a voluntary organisation that donates handmade quilts to children in hospital facing bereavement, relationship breakdown or other emotional trauma. All its quilts are made by hand by a wonderful team of volunteers. Its coffee mornings and sew days are an opportunity to meet people with a common interest addressing issues of social isolation. Now, the other charity, Weymouth Street Pastors, are a familiar sight on the streets of Weymouth at night. Volunteers from local churches patrol the streets, helping those in need, ranging from partygoers to homeless and people in between. They offer support, first aid and a range of other things depending on their needs. So thank you to Crossways Travel and all their customers for those donations to 2 very worthy local causes. It's now time in tonight's programme for this week's film review and preview, and we go over to Andrew Wright.
Welcome to White Regis TV film review and preview. I'm Andrew Wright. This week, Better Man was released in cinemas. The film is a semi-biographical musical film about the life of Robbie Williams, but in the film, Robbie Williams is portrayed by a CGI chimpanzee, with Williams voicing the character, and the film focuses on 3 decades of Williams' career, including his time with Take That and his relationship with Nicole Appleton. The film also reinterprets and recontextualizes some songs to fit the film, like the scenes in the film. And Robbie Williams has said that the film was done this way with him as a CGI chimpanzee because he said he always felt less evolved than other people. The film is an Australian co-production and has been a hit with critics who praise the chances this film takes, which apparently they pay off. This film's not really something I'm interested in, so I can't comment to that. Better Man is in cinemas now. Also released this week is the new Robert Eggers film, Nosferatu. The film is a remake of the 1922 silent German expressionist film of the same name, which was an unauthorized adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula, and as such, the characters in this film, because it's an adaptation of Nosferatu, not Dracula, they have different names the characters have different names than they do in Dracula. Nosferatu is set in 1830s Germany and follows a real estate agent, a salesman, who is tasked with finding a new residence for a Transylvanian count who has become infatuated with the salesman's wife. So, for all intents and purposes, the Transylvanian count is Dracula, but it's not called Dracula because, yeah. So far, the film has had positive reviews from critics who particularly praise director Robert Eggers' efforts. He's become quite known in the smaller gothic horror spaces for his work on The Vivitch and The Lighthouse. I didn't like The Lighthouse when I watched it years ago. So, but Nosferatu is in cinemas. It might be now, but I've heard New Year's Day, so that's... I know it's out in America now, so it's either out now or out in the UK on January 1st. That's all I have for this week, but be sure to check back next week where I will have more film news. Not sure what I'll be talking about yet, but who knows. Now back to Gary in the studio.
Thank you, Andrew, and we look forward to seeing what Andrew has for us next week. Looks like he's got some digging to do this week to see what he's going to talk about next week. So that will be interesting to see. Now it's time to go over to the Met Office for the evening weather forecast, covering the rest of the weekend. And this week we are joined by Craig Snell.
Hello there, welcome to your latest weather forecast from the Met Office. Well, as we go for the last few days of 2024, there is going to be a change in the weather. We start to say goodbye to the mist and murk, but unfortunately it's going to be replaced by some wet and windy weather as we see areas of low pressure move across the country. Some of these areas of low pressure will be fairly deep, so we could see some wet and very windy weather at times as we move through New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. But we're keeping a very close eye on things and we'll certainly keep you up to date over the next couple of days. Back to the here and now as we see at Saturday evening into the early hours of Sunday. It's going to remain fairly murky across the south. Again, some mist and fog around. So if you do have any travel plans, do allow some extra time for your journeys. A weak band of rain will just sink its way into parts of Wales and northern England. So that will start to lift the mist and fog here. But probably the best of the conditions will be across Northern Ireland and southern Scotland, where to the north of this, another band of rain beginning to move in, and some of that will turn heavy and persistent across parts of western Scotland. But for most of us, it's not going to be a cold night by any means. Lowest temperatures generally can probably be no lower than about 3 to 5 degrees. So again, we start off on a rather murky note across many parts of England and Wales. But I'm hopeful as the day goes on, we will start to see this begin to lift and break up much more readily than it has done of late. So come the afternoon, some good sunshine really for parts of the Midlands and East Anglia. Where further north across northern England and Northern Ireland, although it be rather dry here, it will be largely cloudy, with the main bulk of the rain really still for Scotland, with some heavy and persistent rain. And also just starting to see some cold air just beginning to seep in, so some of the rain will turn to snow across the higher ground. But with minor way of brightness around, it will be a milder day for the south. Temperatures here reaching around 10 to 11 degrees, but just struggling across the very far north as that cold air begins to move in, so around 6 to 7 degrees here. Into the evening, if anything, that rain intensifies across Scotland, and again, that rain also turning into snow, especially across the higher ground. Warnings do come into force during Monday and actually continuing right throughout New Year's Eve too. So if you do have any travel plans for Hogmanay across Scotland, do stay up to date with the latest warnings and allow some extra time for your travels. Further south, a fairly quiet night with clearest of the skies down towards the very far south, but for most of us, again, a fairly mild night for the time of year. So for much of England and Wales, although a fair amount of cloud around, it should be a largely dry day on Monday. Best of any brightness across the very far south. Could just see a few showers down here, but the exception to the rule. Main band of rain will still be focused across Scotland. Scotland. That will move into parts of Northern Ireland and Northern England during the course of the day, where it also will become quite windy here too. Warnings are in force here across parts of the Pennines. Could be some strong and gusty winds. So again, if you've got any travel plans in this part of the world, do allow some extra time for your journeys. But for most of us, a fairly mild day, highs reaching around 10 to 11 degrees. But you can just see that cold air just seeping a little bit further south, so only around 5 to 6 degrees across the northern half of Scotland. And unfortunately, really, as we move into New Year and Hogmanay, the weather is set to turn much, much more unsettled. Further bands of rain, potentially some snow and also some strong winds at times. So do stay alert to the latest warnings on our website, where you can also check out your local forecast. But from me for now, take care and I'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much there, Craig, for the weather forecast. We will see what the local weather widget has got for us. Well, continues to be milder until next weekend in particular. Certainly Friday looks like the temperature's dropping. Sunny spells, bit of cloud, with perhaps rain on Thursday or Friday. We'll see what happens this week. Looking to the what's on, a few things for you. Currently at Weymouth Pavilion, the pantomime running through to the 5th of January, Peter Pan. 8th of January, the BSO New Year Vinnie's Gala. 11th of January, Thank You for the Music, ABBA Tribute. 17th of January, a tribute to the Pet Shop Boys. And 19th of January, comedian Ed Byrne. More information on those shows and other shows and to book tickets at weymouthpavilion.com or call the box office on 01305 783 225. Just a touch of some of the things coming up from Arts Reach. There's a show called Bonfire Radicals that's on at Drimpton Village Hall on the 10th of January, Royal Manor Theatre, Portland on the 11th of January. Then there's another show, 17th of January at Blandford Parish Council called To Warm the Winter Hearth. 19th of January, a show called Havisham at Burton Bradstock Village Hall. And on the 31st of January, a show called Joy at West Stafford Village Hall. To learn more about those, to look at ticket availability and any other shows and venues, pop along to the Arts Reach website, artsreach.co.uk. Finally, looking at church services this weekend. Just a couple for you this weekend. 8 o'clock communion at All Saints Church tomorrow, and 9:30 is a joint parish service for All Saints and St Edmunds at All Saints Church at 9:30. So there is no 11 o'clock service at St Edmunds Church at Lane House tomorrow. That brings us to just about the end of our programme. To remind you that our quiz is on tonight at 7:30. It's our free community-focused quiz. All are welcome. It's for anybody who'd like to join. There's no fees, no catches, just a free Saturday evening quiz online for anybody who'd like to join on our usual streams. That will start promptly at 7:30, but the streams will go live by about 7:20 so that people can find them and be sitting comfortably. That brings us to the end of this week's programme. If you've got any news for us or any information on the events that are coming up or any other information you wish to share with the community, do drop us a line at news@wykeridges.tv. We would love to hear from you. Failing that, we hope you have a peaceful rest of the holiday season. I wish you an early, very happy new year for the coming week, and I look forward to being back with you in 2025 next Saturday at 6 o'clock. Good night.